Welcome to Eye on Art. My name is Harvey Sadow. I'm the director of the Paducah School of Art. This segment of Eye on Art will focus on the Paducah School of Art's faculty exhibition. And the reason we're doing that is to introduce you to the faculty members at the School of Art, to their work, to learn a little bit about them and what they do, because over the course of this season, they will be taking you around the area to look at subjects, ideas, art, which is of interest to them, in order to share with you some of the things that are available to you as arts-interested members of this community. This exhibition will run through October 29th. It is installed in the Clemens Fine Arts Center Gallery in the lobby of the Clemens Fine Arts Center at the West Kentucky Community and Technical College, and features work by 8 faculty members at the Paducah School of Art. A few facts about the School of Art. It was founded in 2008, opened its doors in August of 2008 at 409 Broadway in downtown Paducah. Last year we added 413 Broadway with a new digital imaging facility, and we are now home to over 350 students enrolled in classes. Our faculty comes from across the United States and around the world. They are a picture of diversity. They work with clay and canvas, they paint, they draw, make photographs and digital images, they sculpt, they have been widely exhibited and highly honored, and I hope you will enjoy this exhibition and meeting them as much as I enjoy working with them.
Okay, I teach painting 1, painting 2, and also I teach direct study in figure painting, and also 2D and the color design 3. And when I teach students how to painting, and also I do some painting examples. So for example, I did this painting is actually to show students. And when painting, and I take the picture for the painting's process. I start teaching students how to paint the figure and how to the background. First, I started painting the background very realistic, and I try to show students how to change the background more abstract, more concept. So these people, the model is more realistic. When change the background, you feel have movement and has meaning. So like a girl, just like a fly or in the sky or in the water. Yeah, so, and also a lot of texture. I'm building my studio, the reason because I don't have space for painting. Most time I paint in this corner. This is my studio. So then I built my studio next to my house. And so I have more space to paint.
Well, when I was in high school, I tried a lot of different subjects and didn't really know what I wanted to do when I got out of high school. And I decided to try commercial art and went to a commercial art school. And I discovered that I was more interested in fine art than I was commercial art. And so I just kind of bounced around, and one thing led to another. I'd lived in Michigan. I started just studying landscape and the idea of landscape. And in Britain in the 19th century, in the 18th century, it was a steam engine, and that influenced how Britain grew. And in our country in the 19th century, the steam engine, but more predominantly the 20th century, how the automobile has shaped our landscape, and as well as our culture. These are a series of drawings I did based on highwayscapes at dusk, and these particular ones were in a storm. A lot of my artwork throughout the years has been based around some sort of automobile culture. I'm a printmaker. I do lots of prints, but I also do drawings, and sometimes they're for studies for my prints. I am doing series of charcoal drawings that stand alone. I work in charcoal drawings in a similar way I would in some of my lithographic prints, which is a subtractive medium. I make the surfaces black or very dark, and then I subtract the values to get the lighter values. Many of my major works, I will take different drawings and different photographs and kind of scan them into the computer and then make up new scenes based on several different images. And use those as a kind of a cartoon to do the finished drawing or the finished print from.
My name is Linda Ogden, and I teach sculpture at the Paducah School of Art, and it's been a wonderful experience teaching and gaining experience teaching. What I would like to be my main focus, I'd like to specialize in portrait sculpture, but as I'm trying to expand my comfort zone and do other things. I've done a piece called Cat and Company. It's a cat sculpture that's whimsical, but yet it still captures the character of my pet cat. This piece is titled In Memory of Michael. I did it for a friend of mine whose son was killed in a car accident at 15, and I had snapshots to work from, and I believe I really captures his character because his mother and his brother really appreciated the piece when I gave it to him. Another piece I did was the relief I called Diamond in the Rough. It's a relief sculpture hanging on the wall. It's done with stainless steel acrylic paint, and I just love the texture of the skirt on the figure. Well, I think I've learned as much as I've taught in this school because I was not a teacher before I came here, and teaching for on my 2.5 years now, I've learned as much as I've taught, I believe. And I look forward to continuing that down the road.
Yeah, I started as I'm mainly a functional potter, so I mainly make pottery that's designed for everyday use. And my main interest has been focusing on kind of Japanese pottery, so that's my biggest influence. So over the years, it's changed a lot. It started off as a lot of wood firing, which is when you stick the pottery in the wood kiln and it gets fired, and the wood ash in the kiln glazes the pieces. And I do a lot of jars. But lately, I've been doing these new types of bowls that have been carved and faceted. Yeah, the glazes I'm using, because the carving has these kind of sharp edges on them, I want the glazes in this case and then on these two bowls to kind of pull away so that there's kind of a difference in the glaze color between the high points and the low points, and that's called breaking. So that the edges will turn white to kind of increase the depth of the piece as far as the surface depth. On this piece here, I changed the way I sprayed the glazes on. So I was angling the way how the spray gun was hitting the piece so a different color would kind of catch the tips of these pieces. So if you can see here that the upper part is green, and then I also sprayed from underneath a different color to reveal a slightly different color glaze from underneath. So it's just because the way I think of my pottery is also, I want things to look sometimes a little bit weathered. So to look like there's been like time is a factor also in my pieces. So I like that, how there's like movement across the surface. Everywhere you go kind of changes your work, and and as an artist, it's just, you have to kind of assess your new environment. So here, I feel like I just started making these. I was really drawn to this form and this shape, and then after I started carving and working on them, I kind of look at them and I feel that they kind of really look like a tractor tire. If you look at it from the side, it kind of has this carving. That wasn't necessarily intentional at the beginning, but the work kind of develops its own path. And I'm very kind of process-oriented in the way I work. And so my sons and I, we've been going to a lot, like the tractor shows. You see them at, they're in the Labor Day parade, and they had a tractor show down at the fairgrounds just like a couple of weeks ago. I think it's just that exposure that Paducah has offered me that kind of has influenced my work. Pretty fun. And so you can see it's just working on different scale and different shape.
really enjoy narratives. I enjoy telling a story through my work. The earlier pieces, you'll notice, are about one of the main aspects of a human experience, which is the bad day. And how can I depict the bad day in a way that is more digestible, or we enjoy looking at it, and we can perceive it in a lighter manner, and therefore get on with our lives. So this piece in particular is entitled "A Little Bird Told Me So," and I enjoy symbolism in my work in order to tell my story. And here you can tell that this piece is about gossip. The birds cackling on a clothesline, like ladies cackling over gossip, and airing your dirty laundry in public. And it just makes it worse because here the birds are having issues. The newer pieces are still about the bad day, but from a voyeuristic point of view. We're witnessing something inside of a window, a private moment that's happening to maybe our neighbors or someone that doesn't know that we're watching, and what's going on in their lives, and how are we perceiving it. Since my work is so narrative, illustration plays a big part in it because, of course, you've got to tell a story. And illustration is taking a story and putting images to it that speaks the story even louder. Being from a small town, you are forced to use your imagination. You grow up in a town with no movie theaters or coffee shops, and so you go out there in the emptiness that was Indianola, Mississippi, and you're forced to come up with things to entertain yourself. And drawing, I think that's how I got started as an artist, because I wanted to have these things that I could see in my head, and so the best way to go about that was to put it on a piece of paper.
Well, I am Randy Simmons, Associate Professor of Art for the West Kentucky Community and Technical College / Paducah School of Art. That's a mouthful. I am here teaching drawing classes, Drawing 1, Drawing 2, and life drawing classes. And then, of course, on the side, I draw. Most of the drawings that I do stem from, most of it's family oriented. It comes from parenting, friendships, relationships from past girlfriends and wives, ex-wives I should say. I do some politically themed work, and one of those pieces is in the show. But most of my work centers around the family. Well, I should start by saying that one of my favorite artists that inspired me is Caravaggio, and he works with heavily dramatic, dark and light contrast images. Then they're narrative and style, and you usually capture the moment at the highlight of whatever action he's depicting, like the Supper to Mice, and or I'm trying to think of some of the other pieces, the Conversion of St. Paul, for example. I like working with photographs, and I've been a bit of a photographer most of my life. I do like to work from photographs, and typically I'll start with an idea in my sketchbook. I may be inspired by something I saw in an advertisement, or something that I've seen on television, or maybe even something from my children, what they say and do, and some of the things that they say can inspire me to do some work. The work will start in my sketchbook, and I'll do some quick gestural works in there. And then I'll start with the photography next, and I'll shoot a lot of photographs for references. And luckily, my kids will work with me and pose for me when I need them to pose for me, along with my wife. And they'll pose for me. I will assemble the images in Photoshop, and pretty much have everything set up for me as how I want the drawing to go. So I love to create. Love to draw. I mean, if I'm not teaching, I guarantee you I'm in my studio drawing. And to be able to come to work and teach what I love to do, man, I've got it made.
My name is Paul Aho. I am here in Paducah from South Florida. I have the pleasure of teaching digital photography for the Paducah School of Art. The things that I'm showing here in the faculty show, I'm showing two things actually. Behind me are pictured some photographs from one such surfing, I won't call it a vacation, I would call it a surf trip, right? We used to call them surfaris, but in any event, I do take my camera with me wherever I go, and we had the opportunity to visit a small town called Playa Azul near a large port city in southwestern Oaxaca, Mexico, which is a huge Petromex port town. And this is a little seaside village that serves the weekend and recreational needs for that community, that larger community, as well as being the residence location of a group of local fishermen and such. And as we went into the place, I was struck by the Playa Azul and Salinas Cruz are really, really harsh, desolate places. The wind blows there like 50 miles an hour for 9 months out of the year. And the people there have a sense of fortitude that was apparent in like every place you went and everything that you saw. And it particularly struck me in the residences and the shelters and the restaurants of this little seaside resort. And so I simply went through on foot each structure in Playa Azul, and documented each one of them with a single photograph, basically walking up and saying, okay, size this up. Okay, you're only going to take one picture, make it your best shot, and trying to make the best capture of what was ultimately 43 built structures, including the small palapas and such that the fishermen used to take shelter. When I was a young student at Palm Beach Community College, I had the good fortune to study under the instruction of Gene Arendt and Reuben Hale, who were respectively the photography professors and the painting professors, both of whom were very accomplished artists in their own right. My thoughts at that point is I was thinking that I would pursue a career in photography, and then I studied photography to that end in graphic design, and then decided it would be easier, mistakenly, to make a career as a painter. So I changed my major and I went on and received a master's degree in painting and studied printmaking throughout the course of that. One of the things that's making my experience particularly enjoyable is the caliber of the digital lab that the School of Art has. I walked in there, Harvey Sadow, the director, took me in there the first time, and I just looked around and said, wow, this is a great little lab. This is really, really beautiful. So I invite anybody who has an interest in digital image making to come and share in this resource and to make good use of the opportunity to work alongside others of similar interest at the Paducah School of Art.
Let me share with you a little bit about my own work. I've been working with clay for over 40 years, and most of the work of mine that's represented in museums around the world is my ceramic work. Most of this work is not functional in nature. They're like small paintings in the round. They employ the use of layered surfaces fired on individually in a series of firings. Sometimes I also sandblast the pieces in the same way that a body shop would sandblast paint on a car, or somebody might sandblast the brick or some such thing. And I create these unusual surfaces that simultaneously reflect, refract, and absorb light in the same way that light is used in nature to record all the things that give us awe and wonder. And I'm very much focused on the notion of Thanksgiving, about this incredible planet on which we live, and all the things that are so beautiful if you take the time to look and look again. In these pieces, as you move around the object, because of the layers and layers of surfaces that are fired into them, colors change. You see different things. They have a tendency to suggest to you places that you've been, things that you've seen. And I like that. I like the way that while I have my set of experiences and images and all the places that I've been to draw from, they also, because I think there's a kind of universal truth in them, they suggest to the viewer places and things that they've seen before and bring up your own memories. I like that. In my digital images, I work with photographs. I try to find images that have both subjective interest and also strong compositional elements. I'm looking for texture and line and contrast and the unusual or the ironic, so that as I begin to alter the images in the computer, the compositional elements become the first and most important issue, so that you are drawn into the picture. Once you're drawn into the picture, then the actual subject matter starts to reveal itself and become more important. And I'm interested in that combination of the event, which the photograph was born to capture, the documentation of the event and the image, but also in that light painting, the composition, the quality of color, texture, light working together to delight the eye. Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of the faculty of the Paducah School of Art, I want to thank you and hope that you'll have the opportunity to come down yourself to the Clemens Fine Arts Gallery at WKCTC and see this show firsthand. The gallery is open every day during the week, and the show will run through the 29th of October. We'll leave you now with some images from the exhibition and scenes from the opening of the exhibition, which was great, and hope you'll join us for the future Eye on Art segments brought to you by the School of Art faculty. Bye-bye.